Okay, all right. Let's get this project going some more. Um, what I think I'm going to try to do today is clean up a lot of the stuff that is dealing with Docker. And so I was trying to go and learn more about how we're injecting all of these environment variables because there's multiple different ways that we're able to inject these um, environment variables into our project. We can do it through the script here, and it will have an export, and then the variables that we are trying to export, not this one, not this one. Where is the specific okay, well we can do it from uh oh, I remember. So we can do it from yeah, as I said, a shell script here. The other thing that we can do is we can set it within the Docker compose right here, right? But then I was having these where I was like, wait, where is this coming from? And that comes from the export. Then the other thing that we can do is Docker will look at your .env file, right? And so it's looking at this as well. So there's multiple different ways that we're able to actually get um, all of these um, environment variables passed in. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do is probably get a lot of these things in alignment, right? Because first off, let's just so I want my Postgres here. Okay. So right now we're doing this, but what I actually want to do is I want to pass this in by getting the environment variable and then setting a default, right? So let's do that. It's equal to, and the other thing that I need to figure out is because these don't have the quotations around them. Do you need the quotations or is it just in the env files or a lot of those kind of like random things. So let's do this. So let's say $ here, right? Like this. No, like this. Okay, cool. And we're going to disable you. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. So now, same thing is we're gonna do this, like that, this, and here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to say like this. Okay, cool. So this is what I actually want. I should have just copy and pasted this entire thing, but that's fine. Now, what do we want to do? So we want to give this environment variable that is already set, and then we give a default of admin, right? Okay, kind of like this, and PostgresDB. All right, so we're gonna set that. The other thing that we want to do is we want a startup script, and I don't think it's going to be this one. So we want a startup script that we pass in arguments to, and it will take those arguments and actually make them into environment variables using the export. So it gave, I have it generating a whole bunch of documentation for like teaching me stuff. So it actually did give me a good example of, so here's my documentation folder, of what I might be kind of looking for. There's a lot of stuff in here though. I don't think it's there. Let me open in a new tab, right? Let's see. Do I want to open this again? How many tabs do I want open, right? um, okay. So I think it was under AI suggestions, developing. Was this for the startup? There's a startup script that it was suggesting for me. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and then modify it. But I will. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do start.sh, right? So now we are going to have our shebang, and then user bin env bash. Okay, and now we're going to try to figure out what we actually want and how we want to adjust this, right? So we're going to have start.sh, and then we want to be able to pass in mode, right? This is our parameter. Now we're going to either do mock or live. Mock or live. Now it gives suggestions about GPU. Maybe we do it. I might as well add it. But the other one that we really care about is this one, like model. Okay, so let's do optional, right? GPU. That's another flag, and now we want to do model, and then like Quinn 2.5, and then 1.5 billion. Okay, so I'm kind of in the way, but there we go, right there, right? Kind of like this. So now let's look for what else we want. So the general idea for what we're going to be trying to do here is I want to be able to get a script that I'm going to be able to run and just do mock. So I do mode mock, and what this needs to do is it needs to come in, it needs to build everything. Well, first it needs to go and actually get the arguments that I pass, set the environment variables with the export, then invoke the Docker compose build, and then from that, we need to be able to go in and get all of our containers up, but only the containers that we need, right? So there is this parameter that we're using inside of our Docker compose called like live, hold on, let me, profiles live, right? So only in live does this container actually come up. And actually, I want to delete this container. I want to get rid of it. The reason is because all this container is doing is sending a post request. Okay, sending a post request over to the Olama container and telling it to pull this model like Quen. Okay, well, why are we doing that? Why can't it be that the user passes in the model, right? Then what we do is we start up all of our Docker containers, okay? And then when the user requests a model, then I just have it go and try to get that model right there. Right? Like I was thinking about that. I was like, wait, hold on a second. That didn't make much sense. So we're gonna hopefully delete this. Let's actually delete it right now and see if it causes any problems. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. So then what we're gonna do is we should be able to, and this is a bind mount, so it's okay. All right, cool. So come back in here and let's go through this, right? So we want set and then EUO pipe fail. So okay, let's I'm trying to figure out what I want to, because I'm not going to copy, or I'm not going to write all of this. I'm not really looking to learn Bash right now. Like that's not exactly the skill set that I want to learn. Um, so, but I do want to see this. So mode is equal to mock, right? Here. And then, so GPU, because I do care about how we are setting and capturing these parameters, right? And now here's the other one. Okay, so model, we get it from our, shouldn't it be from this model parameter, right? So why is it from the environment variables? Oh, okay, so I guess we're getting it from the environment variables, setting a default here, and then we're going to come here and then do the while loop to get all of it from the parameters if none are set. Got it. Okay, now I see. Okay, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this myself, or at least write it myself. Okay, so now the other thing that we can do is, right, model is equal to, and then the $ here, and now we do LLM underscore model. This, and then, all right, like that. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we did this. And now what I can do is finally do this export. Okay, so now we're going to be setting our environment variables. This is what we do care about, right? So we want to set LLM mode. Now this is what is going to determine if we are live or not. So this is going to be used to determine which Docker service we want to start up. It is also going to be determining within my Python or my Langchain service up here what models I want to grab. And we need to still do that because right now I'm using the Ollama chat, which is not actually what we want to do. We want to have a factory that goes in and says, okay, well, if the os.env is for LLM mode is mock, I want to get this thing called like a mock chat. So that way I'm not actually communicating to the LLM because my MacBook is it's not very resource capable. So, all right, so come in here and for this mode variable that we just created. Okay. And then LLM model is equal to, same thing, model. And then we're going to want the other one, which is, did it say, no, so we're not exporting GPU. Is that the only thing that we care about? I need to think about that. I'm not sure if it is. Okay. Because we already have our Postgres, right? Okay. All right. We'll figure that out later. So now, okay, so if it's equal to mode, right? So if, okay, this mode here is equal to live, okay, then what do? Now this is, and I don't actually want to do it the way that they're doing it. We're going to do it slightly differently because we already exported these two things here. What I want to do is I want to pass in the profile. Oh, they're actually passing in the profile right there. But I don't want to do this layered Docker compose yet because that adds extra layers of complexity. So I just want to keep it a little bit more simple right now. So we're live right now. We passed in live, right? Docker compose. And now we're going to be setting profile is equal to live. Okay. And then here for, I don't think that I need this one. I don't need this one. And I might need this one. I haven't determined that yet. But I do need this up, and I do need this detached and build. Okay, so I'm going to say Docker compose live up detached build. Okay, so the other thing that is worrying me is I actually think that I might, there's a lot of files here right now. I don't like that either. I do have something called scripts. Maybe I can put all of my start script. Well, I want to start script here. But, okay, so with this one, I'm doing a lot of stuff, which is like removing the old project, right? So, and then I have my build one. So this is the better one, right? So I'm doing this, and I'm doing here, and then force recreate. Okay. Kind of like this. Running containers up here. Okay. So I kind of want to combine these, right? Because they're doing up and build at the same time. This one is doing just build and then up. And then this one is doing like up or up and build as well, but less, or changing the profile that we're not passing anything in there. Okay. And so this one is going in and doing a lot more. It's stopping all of the old containers, right? It is then going in and building images from the current source, okay? And then we're doing the prune. So we're getting rid of all of the dangling, like, images that don't have any running containers. Okay. So I want to merge these together. How are we going to do that? So we should be able to take this right here, have that up here, right? We'll still have the project monitor. Okay. That makes sense to me. Then we'll need to export these two environment variables. And where we're really going to need to look at things is, what is this variable that we're passing in here? Like, what does LLM monitor actually do? So Docker compose here, and then we're passing something in here and build, and this one has the build and then up, and then these ones are separated. So what I'm going to do is kind of like this. So I'm going to go copy you, and then I am going to, so we need to look at these. Now I'm going to say I want to merge my startup scripts. I want to have it such that I am going to still take my old things down, not clutter my MacBook, which has little memory, and I want to be able to pass in parameters and use those to be able to dynamically change the items which my Docker compose, which I bring up in my Docker compose, and change the environment variables. Okay. So now I'm going to say start up script 1, like this, here. That'll paste in, and then say start up script 2, and paste that in here. Okay. Actually, I will pass, say this one, this entire thing into here, like okay. Here. Okay. And then I'll say what I am thinking as a combo. All right, so now let's make kind of the Frankenstein that I'm thinking of. Okay, so what do we want to do? We're going to have this, and so I wrote that out first so that we don't lose it, and now I'm going to go and play around with things. Okay, so we're still going to have this command, and now I want to copy all of this, right? And we are not going for you, we're actually going for the build script. So we're going to have you, and then under you, we're going to have you, all of this, okay? And now this build is actually going to be different as well, because we're going to have this. So we're going to have build.sh, and then here are the correct parameters that we're going to allow for. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now that we did that, we set the project. Okay, that's going to stay the same, but we do need to export these. Okay, so let's export. Okay, now what I want to do is we still are going to take down the project. That's not going to change. These are the two things that are going to change. Okay. So I'm going to tab these out. I'm going to get rid of this note. Okay, and now we're going to say the same thing about this if. If this is the case, then we do this. Else, and then I want to copy this again, and then we'll change it, right? Okay. Okay. And then we want to finish our else statement, and then Docker prune. So, all right, how do these need to change? So we're going to still be doing this, but now instead of just Docker compose, I don't know if I put in the compose part or the up part. The up part is where we're actually starting the containers, right? So I would assume that the parameter for live, or the profile thing, because that's determining which ones we want to start up, I'm assuming that it would be here. So compose, and then like profile live, right? Project, and then still have those. Okay. Now for this one down here, we don't put the profile there because we want to start up only the ones that are always going to be starting up. Okay. So this is kind of what I'm saying here, and let's see what it has to say about that. Okay. So there we go. That will be question number 1. Now let's keep looking and see if we can find question number 2. All right, so let's assume that that works. Now we come in here and we're no longer going to have this, and we are no longer going to have pull models.sh, right? So what I need to do now is I need to go into, oh, and there's another thing that I need to do. I need to make sure that I have my SQL script, which is here, but that it's in the right place. Meaning inside of my PG vector. So I don't want these 2 comments anymore. They're no longer really valid. So we have this, and now Docker entry point here is mapped to script. That looks right. Okay. Because I did this yesterday, but I didn't quite know what I was doing, but now I have a much better understanding. And so that's kind of the way that I like to do these projects, where I just try to make any progress that I can, and then now I have a much better frame by which I can say, okay, well, now I kind of know where I'm going. Let me go and revisit what I just did yesterday, and then you're a lot more like competent and confident in your abilities, because now you're like, okay, well, now I kind of know what I'm doing. Still make a ton of mistakes, but you move forward significantly faster in 2 days if you are willing to just take on the first day, even though you have no idea what you're doing. Okay, so health check. Okay. Maybe. Okay, I still don't quite know about that, but that looks right, and then we give the named volume here. That looks right as well. Have these 2. Okay. So now base URL is here. Do we want to put that in a environment variable as well? Because later on, if we want to change the, no, because this is Ollama base URL, and we might have other model providers, which are not Ollama. Okay. So actually, one of the things that I am a little bit, so here's Ollama, and we have container name, which is Ollama service. I'm wondering, like, how do those connect to each other, right? Okay, so I'm gonna say like this. Here, and then it's taking a lot of time because, again, my computer is not very powerful. Here is my Docker compose file. I am a little confused as to how I am able to connect up my Langchain service to my Ollama, because I am passing in the base URL as this, but I am now noticing that actually my Ollama container is called Ollama service. Is that what I called it? So I am wondering what or how this is working, and also what is the difference between the container name parameter and the first item of the service. Yeah, okay, so that's what, question number 2, was it? 2? Okay, cool. So now let's go to 3, which is I need to figure out the state of my database, right? So I have this here. I'm going to say I have my .sql script mounted to the standard Postgres location, which it looks for regarding standard scripts or init scripts. But I don't know the current state of anything regarding this volume, because I was playing around with things. So I know that if I already have data in this volume or in some kind of directory, inside of the Postgres service file system, then Postgres will not run this script. How can I troubleshoot this? Or also, how can I just get rid of the volume or database and start over so it will run my script, my init script. Then, how would I verify that it was successful? I think we can use like the exec command. Okay, so now 4. Or was this one 4? 2? 3, 4. Okay, cool. So now, once we get that, we should be able to, so I don't know if it's going to be this one, which is going to be the one that's set, or if it's going to be, I think these ones are more powerful. So I think this one is actually going to be the one that's set, and not Postgres use. Okay, so yeah, it should, because this is actually not set. I've never exported it, right? So this one is not set, but then it looks at the environment variable folder. And I believe that's the second precedence. So we didn't export anything with Postgres user. Then it looks here and gets my username, which is going to be Timothy. Okay. And then it uses a default as here. Okay. Which I'm also realizing is going to cause a problem. Okay, so I'll say it like this. All right, here is my Docker compose file for the of the PG vector. Okay. I have a .env file on my host machine like this. Okay. And then paste that into here. I think it is the case that .env has a higher precedence than what I am setting by default in my Docker compose. Therefore, I think that the environment variables which my Postgres container will have are here. Is that correct? And if so, will it cause issues and conflicts because either Postgres requires standard names such as admin, or that my health check is explicitly looking for admin in the section below. Okay. So that's all of my questions here. Let's come in and I'm just gonna say git add and then git commit, changing some startup script ideas, right? Okay, cool. So now so we saved our work and now let's do this. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna go through and delete a lot of this stuff too. So merging your scripts together and fine-tuning your code. So normally if you chain commands together with a pipe, bash only checks the exit status of the last command. If crashes, bash assumes everything is fine, setting this forces bash. Oh, did I ask like questions? Hold on a second. I bet because I put a lot of questions, and this is specifically for, let me see. What is a pipeline? Okay, so I ask a lot of questions, especially for Claude, because as you saw here, I have Claude go and make a lot of documentation for me. And the purpose of this documentation is laid out within the Claude MD, which is saying based on who I am and my skill sets, look at this project and tell me where I am having conceptual issues and teach me, right? So I'm creating documentation as lectures to be able to teach me the concepts that Claude has found that I'm weak in. And so I try to add comments to really point out like, hey, I don't quite understand this. And then when it creates documentation, it's like, aha, I see what you don't know. Okay. But anyways, so now in this case, it saw that comment and was like, okay. So what is a pipe fail? Normally, if you chain commands together with a pipe, right, like command 1, command 2, bash only checks the exit status of the last command. Oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah. If command 1 completely crashes but command 2 succeeds, bash assumes everything is fine, setting this flag forces bash to return an error if any command in the pipeline fails. It is an industry standard for safety. Okay, that makes sense. All right, do we need to clear the cache layer? No! Okay, that was another comment that I was confused about. And I think so there's something that, like with Docker, there's so many, Docker is such a complex topic. There's another problem with Docker, which is every time I use it, it just eats up so much of my memory. And my MacBook doesn't have much memory anyways. And I'm not talking about RAM. I'm actually talking about disk space. And so I see that this one's talking about RAM, but I'm talking about disk space. And that's why if you look at my script, my build script, it's so aggressive. I'm doing like this with the down, like go down, and then once I do that, prune the old ones. And so I'm doing this specifically because I'm trying to get the memory lower. And I think one of the problems is that Docker will um, eat up memory within the Mac book. And even if I don't, even if I down the images, even if I clear everything, I think I was reading somewhere that maybe the way that Docker is set up, it doesn't actually free that space or something like that. And so it just keeps having more and more memory. So I need to look into that. But that's why I'm so aggressive in my scripts to clear, down, delete, prune. Okay, so do I need to do this? No. Docker layer cache takes up disk space, but zero. Oh, okay. Well, I care about disk space. Keeping the cache means your future builds will take 2 seconds. Your Docker prune at the end is already doing the heavy lifting of clearing out bloated. Okay, okay, so we're still getting that. So let me actually remove those comments. So I'm gonna get rid of you because now we understand what a pipe fail is. Okay. And what was the other one? So do we need, okay. So we're gonna get rid of you. Okay, cool. So it leverages your dynamic parameters while, and please don't use the layered. Okay. So this one is, we're still getting all of this, right? We're still parsing, okay? We're still exporting, okay? We're still downing, that makes sense. Based off the project, let me get a sip of water. Okay, then Docker Compose on the project, setting profile, and now I don't have this Docker Compose. Wait, no, this is the normal one. So why do I need to set it there? GPU build. Okay. So what do we think? I guess it's okay. All right, so let me come here and we'll write these. Oh, come on. Okay. So I will do building images, right? So it wants me to take out this line and just put it up. Okay, fine. Up here. Like this. This. And then like that. So kind of a little bit more clean. Okay, so we're going to do the Docker Compose build. Okay, and here's where we put the profile. Interesting. So we have this project, and then we have another thing, which is here, the profile. So we're doing this in 2 places, right? That doesn't make a ton of sense. And then we're taking out this project and putting this Docker compose YAML there. Why? To pass in cleanly. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Control Z like this, and we can get rid of you. I'm going to say previous way. Hi. Okay, does Command Z not? Come on. Command K C. There we. Okay, so it did. Maybe I pressed the wrong thing. I don't know. I'll say. Oops. Previous way. And it told me to change it because something about that. So once again, I'm adding these comments so that Claude can see what's going on. So now, instead of this, I am going to do it the way that it was wanting. Oops. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to do Docker compose -p and oh, here's the project. Well, now I'm a little bit, okay, anyways. Project, right? Okay. Profile live -f and then Docker compose YAML, right? YAML. Okay. Now I don't like this right here. GPU. I don't think I'm using this parameter, and I don't know what that does. Okay. Build here. And then instantiating live container. Okay. Sure, I can echo and then live containers. And then, yeah, I want to say active. Okay. That way I know that we're doing that one. Docker compose, same thing, -p on the project. Okay. And then profile live -f on Docker compose.yaml, and then this one with the GPU, right? And then up, and then force recreate and detach. Okay. Detach. Let's see. Force recreate, detach. Okay. So now we can just copy and paste this one. We'll just do this. Okay. Actually, we'll do this in all three of them. So that way it's, okay, cool. Because now we know kind of what we're doing. This isn't a typing class. This is a learning what to do class. Okay. There we go. There we go. That looks reasonable, I think, I hope. All right, and then we still have the prune. Yeah, okay. That's what I think. I don't know what the GPU is doing, so I'll say here is what I have. Do you see any problems? And then, well, that pace. Okay. So now I will say, also, I am trying to understand why you wanted me to have this section. Put into the commands. I want to understand what the minus p does, and I want to know what else? What the addition will do. As of right now, I don't think I use. I'll just say it like that. Okay, so number 2. So we'll see if that has a problem. Number 2, we can delete this file. Let's just get rid of it. Okay, so delete you. We don't need you anymore. Now, let's go down, and so you notice that this points to Olama, but your container is explicitly called this. Why does it resolve successfully? The key element, Olama, the service name inside the YAML layout. Docker Compose automatically builds a built-in virtual server for your container network. Yeah, but I thought it was based off the container name. It maps the service name to the container's internal IP address. Programs on the network talk to each other. Okay. I was about to ask, what if you have multiple containers from a single service? I don't want to ask that question, but I feel like it's important to just see. Okay, what happens if I have multiple containers from the same service? Then their IP address will conflict. Okay, so this is a property. It's merely aesthetic label for your host terminal eyes. Okay, so it controls when I type docker ps. Okay, so when you run scripts running mock mode, Olama service is completely omitted because it belongs to the live profile. However, your blocks execution. Okay. If you boot in mock mode, Docker Compose will fail and throw an error because Langchain service is searching for the healthy Olama. Right. Okay, so depends on. Update your depends on to make it optional or remove the strict dependency. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Langchain. I am not going to have you anymore. Okay, goodbye. So wiping the Postgres volume. Postgres uses a defensive initialization design the very first time. It checks this location. If it does, it bypasses your init script. Okay, so to wipe everything, I can do docker compose down minus v. Yes, but that's also going to delete the LLM model, but at this point, it might actually be okay. Bring the system back up is going to just be doing this live, okay? And then we should be able to see and then do Docker logs on that service, and then we grep. I don't know what the -e flag is, but database system is ready. Oh, so we're just looking for that within the logs. Okay. Can I actually do it from here? Resume. Okay. Okay. So now what I should be able to do is come here. I kind of want to say, is there a way for me to just start up my Postgres server and then use the exec it command to manually interrogate the schema to see if it is correct. And I'm just going to do this without the to do. Okay. I'm going to say, here is what I want it to look like. And I also want to know what it is using for the table name, password, and username. Okay. If I do docker down -v, this will also take down my Olama models volume. 4. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So bring the script back up. Then we can do that. Environment variables, it's correct. It will break your system. Aha! I knew it. I knew it. Okay. So host variables, the things you export, the local matching here, the default here, because my environment variables contain this, Docker overwrites the default variables. The database engine boots up completely fine with Timothy as the master root user. Okay. Then the health check breaks because it tests here, right there. So the database was initialized for user Timothy, and okay. So I want to use my, like, I want to set the parameters, right? So it's going to be like whatever the $sign and then the thing with the default. Um, so just like that. Yeah, actually, yeah, just like this. Um, okay, so now I want to say PG is ready. Okay, minus U, and then instead of this, I'm going to pass in my specific, no, hey, no, you are not. I banish you. Okay, like this. Okay. And we're gonna do the same thing for you. Okay. So now I want to okay. What am I doing? This one there. Right. Okay. So now I want to do post grass underscore user defaulted at here if the environment variable is not set. And then I want to do post grass, and then this one is db. Is that what the, yeah, okay. All right. Cool. That should be okay now. So let's, I actually don't want this to pull. I don't want this here. I don't want to delete it yet either though. Do I think it's going to work? So this one I'm asking to check it, right? 2 is I'm asking a conceptual question. And then this is just like my current state. So I'm going to say I think this might be a working startup setup, but testing is still needed. Okay. Okay. Send that off just because it feels nice. You're making progress, you know? Okay. So now what I can do is for this one, I kind of need to, I might put this in like documentation. I kind of just want to clear a lot of this stuff up. What is this? Okay, we're gonna move in here for now. Okay. Did it? Okay. That, I might just delete it as well. I don't know. Test startup. I don't think I need this anymore because I'm not doing things based off of, I'm starting the scripts up based on their parameter, their, what's it called, profile. So I'm not doing that. Timeline implementation, I need to be writing more in this. I need to be doing that. Okay, so pull models, I'm going to delete this later though. And then Docker compose here. And then the build. Okay. I think we're on a good track. Now, what I want to do is within my Langchain, I have a lot of questions, right? So let's start looking at my Langchain. And I don't know if I can delete that yet, so I'm going to leave it. Okay. So I am trying to find the entry point of my Docker container for Langchain service. Okay. So now I'm gonna do this right here. And now you'll see why this is a little bit more questionable when I start investigating it, right? Because my Docker says main.py, but then we're going to have Flask, which I don't know how Flask works. Okay. And then my Docker file says here. But now, if I have my main.py file, which contains Flask, I am trying to understand how all of this will work together. Where the entry point will be, and what the flow is. Okay. So now, paste this in here, right? And there's a lot of mistakes in there, but that'll be fine. And now what are you? You're 4, so now we're going to go to 5. And it's very slow. Okay. So, yes, wait. You got this. I trust in you. Okay. So now I'm going to come in here and it's actually telling me when I was looking through the documentation in production. Okay, so it was trying to give me this kind of thing, right? So I'm going to say, here's the suggested structure for my Langchain. And so 5, here is the suggested structure for my Langchain, but I don't, okay, like this, but I am very confused about where the entry point would be, where the flow and flow would go, and how things would be connected together. Okay, so I'm gonna press go, right? Let it do its thing. And so with this one, right? Like it says what each one is going to be doing, right? Like we have our factory, which is wherever it is, models right here. So we have our factory. So I get what's kind of going on, but I don't know where the actual entry is. Um, so we're gonna see about all of this. Okay. There's no syntax bugs that will break. Okay, so why did we do the F Docker Compose YAML? Like what advantage does that give? By default, if you don't use the -f flag, Docker Compose looks exclusively for a file called Docker Compose YAML or Docker Compose, okay, in your current directory. However, the moment you mix in a secondary compose override, like GPU, ooh, okay, I don't like that idea of an override. Wait, what's that? I don't want that. Like GPU, which evaluates to -f. Oh, okay, then here, Docker Compose drops its default search logic. If you run this, it will only look at the GPU file and completely forget about your base scenarios. By explicitly listing that one first, you tell Docker to stack them. Okay, sure. It's fine. So is a dynamic string injector. So if you pass GPU to your script, GPU becomes Docker Compose GPU YAML. Okay. Docker reads your base configuration and then reads your GPU file. Okay, modifying your Langchain service or Olama. Okay. Skips the hardware acceleration. Okay. So I'm gonna put a little note there though. In the startup script, where the build script. Okay. So I'm gonna say hashtag note. We are now enabling, what did it call it? Like, however, a secondary composition override. Okay. Secondary composite override. Okay. And then I'm going to say $GPU is called a dynamic string injector. And then to do investigate layered Docker Compose setups, dynamic string injectors, and composition overrides. Okay. There we go. So what happens if I have multiple containers? This is kind of just for, just asking questions. It's midnight almost. Okay. What happens if, no, the IP addresses will not conflict because Docker allocates unique, isolated virtual IP addresses to every container instance. If you scale up your stack to have 3 instances of your service running concurrently, Docker's internal DNS engine acts like a round-robin load balancer. Oh, interesting. But the names are still the same, right? So request to Olama. Oh, it just gets sent to one of. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Actually, that kind of makes sense. Cool. Um, okay, so interrogating Postgres and dropping named volumes safely. So, yes, running that will completely destroy your Olama model. If your Olama data volume is managed natively by Compose, downloading a 7 billion parameter repeatedly is a massive waste of bandwidth. Okay, so the safe alternative. So what we can do is down it and then remove that from there. Okay. So we could remove it that way. LLM monitor and then PG data. Where's my Docker compose from here? Okay, so it's just the name of the project and then the volume. Okay, start only the database service. So I can do Docker compose here, drop straight into it, interactively using the terminal tool, okay, and fire up the native uh, PSL, so Postgres command utility. Let's try to do this. Let's see if we even have anything running right now. I don't know if we, okay. Polling. Okay. So found orphan container for this project if okay. All right. So now come here. Let's copy this, right? Okay. Use your real username, Timothy. What is this and why did it happen? Teach me the concepts. Okay. 2. All right. So open your, yeah, so this didn't work, so it doesn't matter. So let's trace how Flask wakes up. So the Docker engine reads the compose, pulls environment variables, and matches mappings. System triggers command, starts process, Python 3 main.py, yeah. Python executes file, reaches the bottom of the block. Okay, so it does run this init. Okay. Binds this socket to all interfaces. Okay, so entry point. Your entry point is strictly defined by the command inside of my Docker file, the boot flow. When Python reads main.py, it steps down the script, registers all of the app route decorators into an in-memory routing table, skips inside the protection block at the bottom, executes the init, and finally triggers app.run. Okay, so binding to the all IP addresses is mandatory for containers. If you configured it to use a specific IP address, Flask would only listen for web requests originating from inside its own container. Yep. Binding to everything instructs Flask to listen to virtual network adapters, allowing Docker proxy mapping. Okay. Okay. Writing comments containing Python string data types is fragile and doesn't validate schemas programmatically. The modern industry standard is to use pedantic models coupled with OpenAI open API or Swagger specifications. Okay, fine. So if you translate your web service tool over from Flask to Fast API, Fast API reads the pedantic declarations and automatically compiles a live interactive API documentation endpoint right at here. Okay, so it validates incoming JSON payloads. Okay, cool. So now, yeah, so it's not happy in my main here that I specified like string in the incoming things. How did it see that I was doing that? I thought that I did that in my other functions, kind of like whatever. Okay. So your translation, okay. Here. This directory follows a clean architecture hexagonal pattern. It isolates your business logic, so the line graph orchestration, from your delivery mechanism, which is the server API routes. So an API request comes in, and then it hits here, right? Then either goes to the graph, and then the graph goes to other places. So where is the entry point? Yeah. In this architecture, your root execution target changes. Instead of placing an explicit if name is main block inside a single file, you use an enterprise production ASGI server framework like whatever this. Your Docker file executes directive changes to look for this. Okay. Becomes a simple initialization file. Oh my goodness. What? Okay, no, this is gonna have way too much complexity. This is way, no, 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 no. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come into my Docker file, right? I'm gonna keep this. Then I'm gonna do a comment and say cmd. So we do learn it later. To do investigate this. Okay. CMD, and then in here, UVICORN, okay, and then app.main app, okay, and then I'll just do all of this, okay, like this. Okay. And then I'm going to say like this. But this adds too much extra complexity for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead of this is I am going to come in here. I'm going to have my main.py. That's good. Now I want to essentially move all this stuff out. Okay. I'm going to have a new folder called old implementations. Okay, there we go. And we are going to put you inside of there. Yep. Pilots wants to make reference changes. Nope. And we are going to put you inside of there. Don't ask me again. Okay. And we're going to put you inside. And then just say nope. And then put you inside. Skip changes. Okay. So we're still going to have requirements.txt. We're still going to have our environment variables. Okay. And obviously this is just a test right now. And we're going to move models inside. Okay. There we go. This is old implementation. We're not going to do it anymore. This is not the way that we're going to do it. We are going to go and start. Okay. So let's just assume that the database is working. Let's assume that, right? That's a big assumption, but we're going to assume that it's working right now. What if I do docker ps? I can do this. Okay. So just going to go like that. Let's just kind of assume that it's working. Let's move on. Let's move on. And then we'll come back to it later. So there's a lot of stuff that we still need to do. That being, we need to be able to go in here and actually start these different. I want to have this main, and I want this to initialize the functions, right? So let me kind of show you what I'm thinking. So we're going to have this structure. Okay. So let's kind of copy this structure. From our Langchain service, we're going to have app. Okay. There we go. From our Langchain service, we are also going to have tests. There we go. Then we're going to have those two. We're not going to worry about those right now. From within app, what I'm going to do, and it actually just might be easier to go into Langchain service app, okay? Make directory and then API. Graph chains tools reg prompts models memory eval telemetry and config. Okay, there we go. So within here, we should have all of those. Okay, so what I want to do is I still want to have my main.py. I'm still going to have that, but instead of just having this initialize, what I want to do is I want to initialize all of the endpoints. So I want to say here, initialize endpoints. Okay. I'll say Flask endpoints. Flask endpoints. Okay. So now what we're going to do is inside of the maybe API. So now inside of API, we're going to have a document called Flask server.py. Okay. So what are we going to have in here? Not sure yet. We will have all of our imports, and then we will have a def for here, right? Okay. Like this. And now from main.py, we're going to want to say from, and now it wasn't liking the way that I was doing it in the past, but whatever, like app, is it this one? No, whatever, app, and then API, then Flask server. So how do you import in Python your custom things? Is it with a quotation mark? I'm not sure. Like, because it didn't like when I was doing it this way, but I forgot the correct way to do it. Oh, see, this is where I was trying to do that, but anyways, Flask server. No. Okay. Let's see if this works. From here, import. Do we want to do all or no? Because no, we don't need access to the functions. We just need access to the, to this method. Yeah. Okay. So it should be like this. Where I come in here. No, I don't want that. And like this. Import this. Okay. So it's not happy. I don't care for right now. That's fine. So now I want to copy this one, right? So, okay. We're gonna come here, Control X on this. And now I want to just be able to switch back and forth. Okay. Like this. And now we need to import Flask. Okay. Do we need any of these? Don't think so yet. Let's comment everything out. Okay. So now I do this Langchain invoke, but this is to my, so I'm trying to do this is not Olama invoke. Okay. So request, and this is a different function. Yes. Okay. So now I'm gonna register all of these. But I feel like this is just gonna be a huge long thing. Okay. Like this. So now I need to come in here and return app. App is equal to this, and now I return app. Okay. And now this is going to need access to all of those other functions. And then we run our app. Okay. So this is the general idea of what I'm thinking to try to clean things up. All right. So now I'm going to come here and say, I need to clean my stuff up. Okay, so sure I know where I am. Okay. Git add commit here, changing Langchain service architecture. Okay. Okay. There we go. And now from this, I'm going to want to come in here, and within this, I want to invoke this Langchain. Okay. Let's see if there's just an easy, like, it should just be a import classes from another file, Python, yeah. Okay. Import from file name. Okay, come on now. From models import car. Oh, okay, the dot operator. Okay, fine. All right, let's see if it's happy with the dot operator. Okay. So from here, we have, hey, okay, cool. There we go. Fixed that problem. And we can get rid of you now. That's fine. Okay. Now, get rid of you too. Okay. So now what I should be able to do is from my server, so it's complaining about Flask, but that's fine because it's actually there. Okay. So we don't have all of these, we have this one, we're just registering it. But we don't have all of these things like, where are you? Grayed out. Chat is not accessed. But it's registered, so it should be fine, I think. Okay, so like invoke Langchain, we don't actually have that function yet, right? But we need to, and now I need to think about this. I need, let's go to kind of what I was saying here, right? So like init service. So what is this one going to be? This one is going to be the idempotent vector database and the embeddings, right? So now what we need to do is we need to come in and kind of implement this. Okay, and then the factory. But the factory, I'm wondering, like, how many instances do I actually want, right? Lang.py, so def invoke here, so from factory, yeah. User ID, chat message, okay. And then I create an LLM, but I'm doing this every single time. Okay. And so we're gonna have invoke Langchain there. Okay. All right, so let's kind of do that. So where are these going to be? So the factory, that one's going to be the easiest. It's going to be in models, right? Wait, why is models out of everything else? Grayed out. Okay. Pi. Is it in my like git ignore or something? Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. Because I think that it was talking about like weights, and actually I might say that. Like come here and then just do Command Z and say this is for weights, but I am having folders for model providers. Okay. Kind of like that. Okay. So we're going to have this, and let's walk through this. So what are we wanting to do? So we're going to import OS, makes sense, from Langchain Llama import chat Llama. Okay, and so we're also going to need to start investigating what are these fake models, right? Because we're doing these fake models. What is that? And then from Langchain core dot language models dot chat models import base chat model. So another thing that I'm trying to understand is like what is the scope of these, and when a user makes a request, how should I actually architect it? Should I already have a model generated, all of the models are still there, loaded into RAM, or do I need to get a new one, right? And so I'm going to try to figure that out, and I'm going to ask that question here within, and I don't quite know where I need to put this one, right? Like, it'll be wherever I'm getting the model. So I need an invoke Langchain, which where would that logically be? Within my app, I'm guessing it would be here, right? Like rag tool, I think it would just be logically in here. So Langchain.py. Langchain service.py, right? And now I'm going to say from factory import and model, we haven't created this yet, so factory, right? And then the reason I'm doing this right now is because I want to do the comments while it's fresh in my head. Invoke Langchain user ID chat message. Okay. And then say LLM is equal to model factory dot get model here. Okay, and then it will take the environment variables naturally, so we're okay there. Then what we want to do is response is equal to LLM dot invoke. Ooh, I don't really like this. Chat message. Okay, I do not like this. Return response dot content. Okay, so I'm gonna say like this. I do not like this current implementation because I am having two concerns with it. I'll say, first, I am thinking that it might be best practice to only invoke or instantiate a model once, not instantiate a model every time a user does an HTTP request. Okay. I am now thinking that maybe I should have a system such that when my Langchain service container starts up, then I will instantiate the models based on what? Based on the environment variables. Then for the entire duration of the containers, I should have just done, hold on, let me go like this, KC, nope, that didn't work. Okay. I'm gonna do the triple quotes. I didn't know that it was gonna be this long. There we go. So, of the container's life cycle, I will only have one model, no matter how many users are asking or how many times a single user asks. Then in the future, if one user asks for Gemini, and another user asks for whatever, I don't know, DeepSeek, then I should only instantiate Gemini once and DeepSeek once. So singleton pattern. Okay. So the second reason I don't like this is because it is just doing a query of the model and then returning the response. I need to do all of the orchestration logic. Okay, so instead of this, instead of invoke Langchain, right, I am instead going to do another function, which is, I don't know, def, what do I want to do? Orchestrate. So this is going to this. So def invoke Langchain user ID chat message, right? And now is going to probably be, I think, this should be the very high level of logic for how I should process a command or a request message from a user. I can assume the model is already created. Okay, so I'm going to say that I am going to, or should this be a class, right? Or maybe I should make this function into a class which has a, like a private variable, which is the model I want to invoke for each of the sections. Now that I am thinking about it more, don't even like that this file is inside of the models folder. I don't think it should be here. I think it should be in a different folder, which is responsible for Langchain orchestration. Okay. So I'm going to say pass right here, right? I'm going to say something about this. So like, class Langchain orchestration. So then I'm going to do Langchain orchestration self. Okay. And okay, like that. So starting the constructor, what do I want to do? We'll figure out where we want to like move this in later. I want to, let's see. So get all models I will need loaded into memory. Okay, so friendly chat model is equal to then I will say model factory dot and then from here, okay. So now we can come here and start doing this a little bit more. So we're going to create multiple classes. Okay, so mock model chat and then model factory. Interesting. Okay. So base model here. Let's start writing this out more. From Langchain core dot outputs import chat result chat generation from Langchain core dot messages import AI message class mock chat model. Okay. So now what are we going to do here? So I will actually do this. Yeah. A minimal local mock LLM wrapper for isolated pipeline validation. Yeah. So I need to separate these things, right? Based off of if it's going to be a friendly chat bot, if it's going to be an AI judge, right? All of these different things. So come back to here and say, or is this just a different system prompt, right? Or would this just be a different system prompt? If so, how would I organize that? But anyways, so come here. Let's keep doing this because we're gonna learn like while we're doing it, right? Okay, so within this class, we're gonna have a def generate messages. Okay, stop is equal to none. Run manager is equal to none, and then our arguments. Okay, is okay, so always return a clean mock response structure instantly without calling what? Out to the network. Out to the actual network. Docker, right? So mock text is equal to, okay, mock response here, policy evaluation bypassed. Okay. Environment configuration set to mock. Okay. All right. So now generation is equal to chat generation, and then messages is AI is equal to AI message. Content is equal to mock text. Okay, so this is a lot. Like we're getting this AI message, which we don't know really what that does yet, right? But we're setting that as a parameter called messages to this chat generation, which is another Olama call. So we're creating this object called chat generation, which creates a chat object, I believe, right? And then from that, we are passing in one parameter, which is like, I wish it would show me the type, but of this AI message. So we're putting in a message in there, and then we're giving this text right here. So that's what we're doing, but I really don't really know like what and how that's operating, right? And then return chat result generation is equal to generation. Okay. So I don't know what that's doing like almost at all. We're gonna really need to investigate that. That's kind of like, but get it on here, try to understand how things are organized, break it, and then make it work, and then try to figure out how to make it better. Okay, so now property def is LLM type, okay, returns a string, okay, return, and then mock stub provider. Okay, now we're going to have another class, model factory. Okay, static method def get model returns a type, which is base chat model. Okay. Now, determines model initialization strategy based on host environment variables. Okay. Okay. So environment is equal to OS. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. OS dot get in. env, right? And then we are not going to be looking for this. We are going to be looking for which environment variable. We are going to be looking for our where are we exporting here? This. Okay, let's make sure that it's in the Docker Compose as well. Volume, oh, come on, where are you? Langchain, LLM mode. Okay, cool. So now, you are there, and then the default parameter is mock. Okay, and then dot lower, like this. So now, if environment is equal to, we're going to do live first, okay? So if this is the case, then we can print, yeah, that'll be fine. So factory, here, constructing live interface link to actual LLM model. Okay. Then we return the model. Okay. Chat Olama. Here. Model is equal to, and we don't want this. We do want model name is equal to os dot get env, like this. And now we want, what did we call it? Just no, not this one. This one. LLM model. Okay. So we want this, right? Default is going to be, let's just actually, instead of this one, let's just say llama 3.2. I forget what. Llama open source. Okay. Llama open source models. Okay. So which one do we want? Okay, so we have llama 4. And for this one, we're assuming that We have 8 billion. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 3 and 3.3, highly popular. Okay. Let's just default to the 8 billion. So let's say default is going to be llama 3.3 and then 8 billion, right? Okay. Model equals model name. All right. And then I also am thinking that I should pass in later on, not right now, but we should be able to change the model, but then also change how big we want each of these. And then we'll have to have a way for the user to change what model they want to interact with. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So temperature is going to be equal to 0.0. Okay, I didn't know it was a float. I thought it was just a... So base URL is equal to... now we're going to do this again. Okay, so os.get environment variables, and then that ollama base. Okay. Here. Paste you in, and do we have a default? Yeah. So the default is just going to be this. I'm going to copy and paste that. That's fine. Okay. There we go. No, I don't want to go back. I want to go on you. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to print factory, okay, instantiating low source mock layer. Okay. So now this flush is equal to true. Interesting. What does that do? I don't know. So now flush is equal to true, right? Okay, fine. Same thing here. Flush is equal to true, sure. Okay. And then we should just return mock chat model. Okay. So, yeah. Got that. And oh my goodness, there's a lot here. So the initialization service. Factory logic. Okay, so this one is for the ingestion of the reg database, right? So then from in my main, I should try to say, and I'm blocking myself here. So I should say something about like run item potent reg ingestion. Okay. So now I should come here from app dot, and now I'm going to want, this should be in rag, maybe? Rag dot in rag dot in gestion import this. Okay. Okay. So now reg in gestion.py this like this, okay. And now I want to okay, so what should this do here? So I will need to use the embedding model to see if to take the documents and turn them into vectors. And actually I'll say I will need to contact Postgres database to see if the tables and documents exist already for the files in my project. If they already exist, then there is nothing to do. If they do not exist, I need to do this. Turn them into vectors, right? Yeah. Okay, so turn them into vectors, and then I realized that it's almost 1 o'clock and I don't know how much more memory my computer has. Remember how I said that my computer does not have a lot of disk space? And so if I just randomly stop recording and the video ends, that you know why, okay? But okay, so I'll need to use the embedding models to take that, then do an update I think to the PG vector database for my document which I found not to be in the what? Database? Not to be in the, yeah, database. Okay. So now I need to go through this, but yeah, we're gonna have to, I think I'm gonna do this a little bit later, because it's pretty late and I don't want the video to just end. So I think I'm gonna leave it off here. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. I will be back tomorrow with another video, and we will keep on going, keep moving forward on the project. And yeah, so thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant. If you want, subscribe. I'd love to have you around, and goodbye.